Welcome to the Fantasy Cast podcast, where three grown men pass the time by telling each other their deepest, darkest fantasies. Here we go.
I still have my old eMac from like 2003, and I'm afraid to throw it away. I'm afraid that someone gets a hold of the motherboard and I go to prison.
There's probably some embarrassing ass shit on there.
There's definitely some like papers I wrote on it and like just weird shit I downloaded.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I could clean it out, but I don't even want to think about it leaving my house.
Remember those? Is that like one of those like self-contained apples that were like really all the rage? They're very stylish.
That's
you know
what
I'm
it is.
about?
It looks like it looks like an egg.
Oh yeah.
I've been just carrying it around with me the last 20 years.
What's that game you used to play on there all the time?
Me?
Snood,
yeah.
Can you imagine being in a room with a green light with Con 8 on, playing Snood, and just two grown men smoking cigarettes?
What the fuck was Snood?
It was some weird fucking off-brand ass game you were playing. It was like
Is it like Minesweeper?
yeah, it was some shit like that. I'll never forget it.
Shit.
It was like,
Wait, this actually happened?
yeah, in our apartment we all used to live in.
God. Just having groups of men in my room smoking cigarettes and then just going to sleep.
That's fucking sick.
That's the life.
That would kill me so fast now.
Yeah, it would.
Oh
it would
my
stop being fun very
God.
quickly.
Can't even imagine.
So you want to just get going with this thing and
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's just get this shit over with.
so today, I mean, it's honestly, I wish we were having this thing under more joyful circumstances, but we lost one of the top 10 dimes of our era recently in Christy Alley. Talented, funny, really good politics, and just absolutely gorgeous. Beautiful body, probably like 4'8", 4'9", 36, 24, 36, everything you could ever want. And if you were a person of our generation, you have definitely at some in your life had a fantasy about Christy Alley. So I figured we'd kick off this fantasy session by sharing some of our favorite Christy Alley fantasies from over the years. And float that out there. I don't know if anybody wants to feel spirit moves them to jump in and share.
For me, I'd probably want to go for Cheers. Just the environment of Cheers was just always been so enrapturing for me. You know, it's a bar that's in a basement, the hardwood, the smell of just working people drinking, and you're in Boston and it's the 90s and it's just everything is, it's the 80s, 90s, and it's just like the whole world is there for you, you know? And here's a woman who's running this place. You know what I mean? Keeping these guys in line, keeping Sam in line. You know what I mean? The sexual tension between them has always been, you can cut that with a fucking chainsaw. It's so intense. And the small woman running around, God knows what sort of sexual trauma she got into. Woody, I mean, come on. The guy is like, if you took Cupid and turned him into a man and gave him a 10-inch, you know what? You know what I mean? Just like when you work, I don't know if any of the listeners have ever worked a day in their lives. Probably a lot of them are just mama's boys who just like never left their house. You know what I mean? We're talking the incel population. Most of our listeners are men. They don't go outside. A lot of them resort to us to fuel their imagination because they have none, because they've just basically been told what to do the entirety of their lives. They're sheeple. Brain dead sheeple. They look at their phones all fucking day long. You know what I mean? Their brains are shelled out by pornography, all this stuff. And that's why you get all these right wing guys that they look up to, like Joe Rogan or Alex Jones, all these pieces of shit. I just, you know what my fantasy is? It's like, I want to get Christy Alley, take her. I'm at the bar. I'm getting drunk as fuck. I'm in a dark place. I'm in the corner of the bar. Christy Alley comes in. She's got Cheers is all running out of business, so she has all these papers spread out on a table in the bar. You know what I mean? She's looking around at people to get eye contact so they can see like how stressed out she is for some fucking reason, which happened to me at this restaurant. It was blowing my mind that this guy would be doing this. Blew my mind. Why are all your papers spread out in the middle of this restaurant, you fucking idiot? You're looking all sad and miserable. I was like, I don't want to eat here right now.
It's depressing.
It was so weird. But anyway, so she's doing that. And she sees I'm brooding in the corner. I'm just like talking to myself and stuff. She comes over. And I just started, she's like, look, you can use this conversation. I was like, sister, that's a statement of the century. She says, let me buy you a drink. She just brings over a whole bottle and we just close that fucker out. Her and I just shot after shot after shot. Just griping about the people who've wronged us and just like how the world's going to hell in a handbasket if these Republicans like get control of the congressional houses and stuff. I'm just gonna go fucking off my rocker. It's people like Joe Rogan, Alex Ross, Perry. Who else is in that bag of just like Tim Millen? Tim, what is his name? Whatever. He's like Joe Rogan's little like buddy or whatever. Who else is bad? A little Ben Shapiro. All these edgy like right wing podcasts and stuff. I just talk about just like I want to do something. She's like, yeah, I got a lot of people in my life. This person's trying to blow the whistle on my religion, the thing I believe in. Leanne Rimes or whatever her ass is, who fucking left religion, little fucking backstabbing little rat. They call that person a rat. You know what I mean? You make a vow, you fucking stick to it. You know what I mean? That's the only thing holding. These people just flip flop, opportunistic scum. Okay, you don't. Once you make a deal with the devil, you're in it for life. It's called loyalty. Yeah. Okay, whatever.
You've been doing a lot of thinking, huh?
I've been just pissed off and just feel like I'm in a fucking pressure cooker. I feel like I'm the only one that's like, cares about anything and can do anything. Anyways, back to the fantasy. Christy Alley and I we round these people up. She's like, I got friends. I was like, you got friends? We start doing cocaine and we're getting all pumped up. We kidnap all these guys. We get a helicopter and a plot of land. In the helicopter, we have Alex Jones, Ben Shapiro, who the fuck else? Oh, Joe Rogan, Herschel Walker, Jake Paul. And we have their families there as well. And then below is like all the people who tried to fuck up Scientology. All these people that are writing exposés and stuff. They're released on the ground. She has a machine gun, Vietnam style, and she's shooting people from the helicopter. You know what I mean? As they're running around, she has night vision goggles on. She's hunting them. Meanwhile, these other guys, these right-wing scumbags, Republicans, their families are also in there, and I'm basically tying ropes around their necks and just pushing them off the helicopter as their family cheers me on. You know what I mean? Just torturing these Klansmen, like any other like person that's like a racist or whatever, neo-Nazi online. I'm just kicking them off the helicopter. You know what I mean? And their families are cheering. Yeah. You know what I mean? They're happy that I'm doing it. Okay, so after that ends, we go back to Christy Alley's kitchen. And, we respect each other. We're just trying to blow off steam. The one we had in common was just like injustice. And now that that's been cured, we're just kind of, we don't know what to do. There's a sense of calm and stuff. And we're in rooms like next to each other, like in a mansion. You know what I mean? And we can like hear the other person just rumbling in the room next door. I realize there's no toothpaste, so I knock on the door that is adjoining the rooms. Just bring her up. I have honestly no ulterior motives or anything. She opens it up and she's like, come on in here. You know what I mean? Got some toothpaste.
Yeah. With that sweet little smile that she's got, you know?
Absolutely. She's a nice person. She is a nice person. And we're brushing our teeth side by side, and we're brushing. We're both kind of just the moment of silence, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And our eyes catch in the mirror. And you just know. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You know when you just know?
Yeah, you're like,
you don't need to say anything.
On.
Yes. And you're both smiling, and your body, a wave of just giddiness comes over your body. You know you're getting into trouble. It's time to play. You know, and I don't want to need to get into the stuff that happens. You know what I mean? We make love.
It's between you guys, yeah.
Yeah, we're both relaxed. We both took hot showers.
Yeah.
So we're both really chill.
Mm-hmm.
The windows open, the doors, the balcony has 2 doors that are just billowing open. And we are open. I could feel moonlight.
Yeah.
And eventually sunlight, like, on my bottom. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Freedom. To me, that's freedom.
Yeah, you've just purged, like, done a really meaningful purge of this society scum, you know? And you're just looking out over the city, and people are just rejoicing. There's fireworks going off.
Mm-hmm.
You know? People can breathe again.
Someone's got to do something.
I wish a rain would come and really just clean this fucking city, you know?
Yeah, I do. I do too. We need to abolish the police. All right, so let's go. Who's next?
Okay, I'll go. So this is it's not inherently, you know, a sexual fantasy, but give it a little backstory. So when I was like 7 or 8, both my parents were working, and my 2 older brothers would look after me after I got home from school. And what they would do is they would just, as soon as I got home, they would send me down to the basement where there was a TV, and they would throw a can of Chef Boyardee down there, and a can opener, and a spoon, and they would lock the door, and then they wouldn't let me out until my parents got home. And so while I was sitting down there, they would have their friends over, and they would all, you know, swap different pornography magazines and jack off, and like try to share different, they called it the Jack Off Squad, was the name of their like club. And they would teach each other different ways of how to jack off and what felt good. And hey, if you jack off to this one, if you try, once you know, they're all too afraid to do like the autoerotic asphyxiation, so they would hold their breath. And you know, so just like stuff like that. And most days they would get into fist fights over the pornography, so I would hear them brawling and yelling at each other, and it was just really stressful. So I would turn the TV on, and I would turn it up really loud. And it was around the time when Cheers was in syndication, so I would have Cheers on in the background. I'd be staring out the window of the basement through like the security bars, just like waiting for my parents to come home and let me out. And I would just have this fantasy of Christy Alley would be walking down the street, and she would look in, and I would say, Christy, let me out of here. You gotta get me out of here. So she comes over, and she like pulls the security bars off, kicks the window in, leans in, her hand reaches in, I take it, and she pulls me out. And she says, what are you doing down there? How did you get down there? And I tell her the story, and she's like, well, that's not very nice of your brothers to do that to you. She's like, let's teach them a little lesson. And I'm like, okay, go ahead and call them to the window. So I'm like, hey, I yell my brothers' names. I'm like, hey guys, come to the window. And they come to the window, and they look out. They're all, you know, sweaty and angry from fist fights and jacking off. And they look out the window, and they say, and they're like, hey, how did you get out there? You're supposed to be in the basement. And I say, hey fellas, look who I have. And Christy Alley looks up at them, and she places a big, wet, sloppy wet kiss on my cheek. And they get so fucking jealous that Christy Alley, the hottest, like at this time, she was the hottest woman out there. She was doing, you know, Look Who's Talking, Made in America, Godfather 3, some other shit. I think she's in a couple Scorsese movies.
The Kathy comics.
The Kathy comics, yeah. Suddenly Susan, all this stuff. It was all like one after the other. And And so they were like, what? No way. I'm like, you guys enjoy your pornography up there. We're going for a walk. So she's walking with me, and I'm telling her the story about how all the guys in my class are having a sleepover and they didn't invite me. And this is like a thing that normally happens a lot. Sometimes the teacher makes them hang out with me. But I can tell they don't really want to be with me, or they don't want to eat lunch with me. So they're having a sleepover right now, and the teacher's over there too. So Christy Alley says, hey, you wanna go play a prank on these guys? And I'm like, yeah, that sounds fun. So we get in her car, beautiful car, drive over to the house that the kids are at having a sleepover. And she's like, here, watch this. She takes a tube out of her trunk and a gas can, and she siphons the gas out of her own car. And she runs up on the porch of the house where they're having a sleepover, and she starts dumping gasoline all over it. And she lights a cigarette and throws the cigarette out on the gasoline, and the whole house catches on fire. She runs around back, and she puts a chair up against the back door so nobody can get out. We just sit there in silence and just watch it burn. And I look over, and she's just staring completely dead-eyed into this fire. And I see the fire just reflecting in her eyes, and her pupils are huge. They're like saucers, and the black of the pupils. I just see the flames flickering. To me, that was probably the most connected I felt with her in my fantasies. It's just somebody who cared about me and just wanted to see me, happy. So that's what I got for Chrissy Alley.
Fire can be very erotic.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know that I was turned on at that moment, but I think the fantasies about Christy Alley and Christy Alley in general really shaped what I, my feminine ideal and make my real partners measure up to in my real life relationships.
They got to stand up for you.
Yeah, like if they couldn't meet the bar of Christy Alley, then they weren't for me. And it ruined a lot of relationships, but
yeah.
So that's what I got.
Nice. All right. So I'm working as like an assistant on a film.
Mm-hmm.
Very low level guy. I'm just running around getting coffee and shit like that. And I get a job on Look Who's Talking. And there's this is one of the first times I've used an intimacy coordinator. And they're filming like a really light, like PG sex scene. And Kirstie Alley's just not feeling it at all. She's really grossed out by it. Doesn't think it needs to be in there. So I overhear the director talking to the coordinator, and the coordinator's just like, he's like, I don't know what's up with her. She just needs to get fucked. She needs to come. Something needs to happen. Like, it needs to happen tonight. We'll reshoot tomorrow. So I overhear this, and they break for lunch, and I go outside. I'm smoking a cigarette, and she comes out. She's really like sweet lady, but she's just kind of, you can tell she's just not into it at all. Mm-hmm. She asked me for a cigarette, and like, sorry, it's my last one. And she's like, well, can I get a hit? And I'm like, yeah. So I hand my cigarette to her, like put it up to her mouth, and when she goes to put her mouth on the cigarette, I'd put my finger in her mouth. And she kind of like sort of sucks on it, but like kind of nibbles at the end, like to where it kind of hurts me. I'm like, oof, ouch. And I'm like, I'm just kidding. And then I take another hit.
Mm-hmm.
I get closer to her, and I'm like, open up your mouth. And she opens up her mouth, and I shotgun the smoke in. And I'm kind of like, I got a little bit of drool on my, I'm kind of drooling, and she kind of giggles at it. So we're chit-chatting. I ask her if she wants to, I was like, you want to get a drink? Or, like when we're done, you want to go out, get some dinner or something like that? And she's just like, yeah, that'd be fun. Like, so we go out, have a few drinks. We're really flirty. I can tell that she, wants to fuck me. And so we just keep flirting. Eventually, the date is over. And I'm like, do you wanna come back? You wanna go back to my place or your place or anything? She's like, come back to my place. And I was like, all right. So we go back there and she's like, I'm gonna change into something else. She's like, just play some music. So I turn on some music and I go through her purse and I steal a bunch of Klonopin. And then we end up in the bedroom and making out. It's getting really heavy, touching a lot. She's wearing lingerie at this point. And she pulls my cock out. She's squeezing it. It's very hard. She spits on it. And she's like, maybe you could get it to talk. I'm like, what? And she's like, maybe you could get that pussy to talk. And I'm like, I'm definitely gonna get it to talk. So I go, I put it in, start having sex. We go for like 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
She comes like 3 times, and she falls asleep, and I'm just laying there, and I hear like little farting sounds. It's a little like, and it sounds like oh my god, she's probably just queefing. It's just all that air. She's just a queef, and it keeps going, and I'm just like, it doesn't even sound like it's coming from her ass or anything like that. Just a really weird, odd sound. So I pull off the covers and I'd start sort of listening, like where's that coming from? And I track the sound, and it's coming from her pussy, and her pussy's actually talking. And it says, I put my ear up to her clit, right up to it, and I hear it say thank you. And that's it.
Yeah.
Make it talk. Yeah.
That's that's all I wanted. That's all I wanted.
So needless to say, she probably did really good on the set. Yes, the next day
She did great. It was a great scene.
John Travolta was probably shocked.
I saw that movie in theaters.
Oh yeah.
I think I might have as well. Definitely, if not that one, then the second one.
Yeah.
You know what? Sometimes motherfuckers, they don't listen to what the pussy's saying. It's telling them things. It's telling them how to work it, and they just don't want to listen. They just go in there all stubborn, head of steam, and just think they know what they're doing. But you got to take the time to listen to it.
Come from a place of fear.
Yeah, you have to respect it. You have to create an environment and a condition and a set of circumstances where it can grow and thrive and be itself and talk to you, and then you listen.
You have to submit to it.
Mm-hmm. It's like a nurturing environment. It's like you can't grow a decent garden if your soil isn't rich, if there's not sunlight, if there's not water, if you're not doing these things for your air, for your pussy or your your partner's pussy. It's not gonna. They're not gonna say anything to you because they're like, why do you care about me? You don't care enough about me. Then why should I care about you?
I mean, you got to think about how things smell, the whole situation.
It's holistic.
It reminds me of Scentbird, based in New York. Right now, you can get 50% off and a free case. Indulge in new designer scents every month for just $16.95. Score your first month for just $8.47. Deal ends in 16 minutes and 44 seconds. Visit their website, scentbird.com, and get started with a quiz. Back up. Here's how it works. 1. Pick a scent. Choose what you'd like to try from our best sellers. You'll get access to a full catalog after subscribing. Step 2 gets easier. Activate your subscription. Once your subscription is active, The 8mm bottle of your choosing will be sent directly to you. And 3, receive your fragrance. This is the fun part, guys. Your first bottle will come dressed in a free atomizer case, and the 8mm bottle holds roughly 120 sprays. That's a lot of sprays, which should last until your next order. Go there now, take the quiz, and they're going to hook you up with the scent you want. It's got top curated fragrances. They offer the best designer and niche fragrances on the market, selected by our team of experts. Get started with the quiz. Some of the brands on here are going to blow your mind. Marc Jacobs, Michael Kors, Toka, Balenciaga, and many more luxury brands to choose from. Build your scent profile. This is something I did with my wife. And let me tell you guys, I've been having no problems in the bedroom. And we have 3 kids running around, driving us fucking absolutely bonkers. But we still find time to get scented and to get sensual with each other. So guys, I definitely recommend this. And I really recommend it. I was at the office spraying this stuff. People were like, what is that little bottle? I'm like, guys, fucking nut up. This is a perfume thing. You spray it on your wrist, your arms, the inside of your thighs, wherever you want. Productivity in my place has gone up 33% in the last week. And that's just after 1 week of getting these guys hooked on these different scents. So I definitely recommend it.
Yeah. You always smell great, Mike, and you always come into the room with a different, new, interesting scent that evokes some kind of emotional response.
Even looking at the website right now, there's these 2 people on the homepage of the website, and the photography is amazing. These people look so sensual. Can I share the screen? Can you open it up so I can share the screen with you guys? I really want you guys to see this.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. Give me 1 second.
So yeah, right now it's down to 13 minutes, 37 seconds to take advantage of this offer. But you guys can see here.
Skin to skin. Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful. She's got this great cheekbone. You can only see the side of her head, and her hair's blowing up and forward, concealing the man on the other side. But you can tell he's got a lot of gold on him. He seems like he's in pretty good shape. She's wearing beige, like fake leather jeans, and do you call that a halter top? Is that what that is?
Spaghetti straps.
Spaghetti straps. She's looking pretty good, based on what I can tell. And the guy is he's in pretty good shape too. I have had sex with men. I do still have sex with men, but I prefer women when I can get it. But whatever, I just wanted you guys to see that.
Yeah, it looks they're doing a skin-to-skin contact, which is what you're supposed to do with the newborn baby, which says to me that they are trying to they are working on their bond, and scent is a big part of that.
I've been thinking lately, you know what a powerful feeling would be? And I've never had this happen. But I don't know if I talked about this, but I think about it a lot. Just making love, and I've seen a documentary about Hell's Angels, and I saw these 2 hillbillies having sex in a field, and I was like, wow, that's got to be great to just have like the sun shining on your bottom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like right inside there. That's just such a rare, free feeling.
Yeah.
To me, I think that would be an incredible feeling to get the rays of the sun just like in there. What do you guys think of that? What I'm saying to you?
Yeah, well, no, what you just said really, it honestly kind of blew my mind. 2 things have never happened to me in my life. I've never seen my own asshole, and my own asshole's never touched the rays of the sun before.
Yeah.
So to have those 2 things happen, help for all I know, it could be life changing, but I'm not going to know until I try it.
Yeah, you know when you're sitting out in the sun for a long time, you can feel the heat on your skin.
Mm-hmm.
You put a palm on your hand, on where you have a tan,
Mm-hmm.
and the heat is just radiated there. How beautiful would that be if it was, everywhere?
Yeah.
This is a true story. When I was probably 11, would ride my bike through this park to get home. I was with like 3 other kids, and there was this couple was having like a picnic with like a picnic basket, and they both had their shirts off. Like the woman had her breasts out. So we just like watched from a distance, and then don't think they ever saw us. We watched them fuck, like in a
Oh
field.
yeah.
Yeah, it was insane. Was very young.
That's cool. Did you so young like you didn't understand what was going on?
I knew it was going on. It was like before I had seen porno.
Wow.
So I knew it was going on, but I was also like had never seen anything like it. Probably fucked me up, honestly.
Yeah, maybe we should cut this out.
If you didn't see that, you would have just learned it on the street. So
I'm sure.
it's a beautiful. It was a beautiful thing that you witnessed. I think it's pretty.
It's weird. I don't know how old they were or anything.
Were they like just out in the middle of like when you go to a park and they just have like a big open field that maybe people play soccer on or whatever? Was it like that, or were they off in some like cut?
Often like the cut. This was like a really dead sort of park. Like there was some tennis courts, and then it was like an open field, a basketball court, and then there was like sort of like a prairie, and they were like out in the prairie just
getting nasty,
just going at it.
I actually lost my virginity when I was like 10 years old.
Oh really?
Yeah, I had a family friend.
Mm-hmm.
This woman, she was beautiful. We basically she was like my babysitter, but we just started doing it, like going out. We had like a full blown complicated relationship together.
Mm-hmm.
And I like broke up with her later on because it was just like too much. It was just too much for school and everything. I was like, I'm a little kid. I shouldn't be like, just like laying it down so hard right now. I already knew, that young, I knew it was just too much for me.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about it, and at the time you were like, we just stayed up till like 2:00 in the morning, just like talking about our relationship, and we were like, is this like, what are we doing here? Like, what is this? Like, what are we, are we like a thing? Do we have a future together? And after like 3 or 4 nights of that, you would show up to school just absolutely fucking drained.
Yeah.
I
couldn't work. I couldn't get anything done.
Yeah. And yeah, it was just, at the time you didn't have cell phones. So, she would come and meet you at school. And
yeah,
I remember you'd be like, hey, we're going to ride our bikes down to the lake. You want to come? And you'd be like, no, I can't. And just get into the car with her and drive off somewhere.
Yeah. She'd buy me ice cream and stuff, and we just fuck and talk and fuck and stuff like that.
It sounds like it's fun, but when you're 10, you got a lot of other stuff on your mind.
Yeah.
How old was she?
She, looking back, I thought she was like 50 years old. But she was probably just like, I don't know, 35. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny when you're, like when you're that young, people who are like in their 30s seem like they're just the oldest people in the world.
Yeah. Ancient. Barely count that high.
Yeah. I had another little vibe that I wanted to throw out to see if any of you guys wanted to riff on.
Oh shoot, what is it?
It's
Against All Odds.
That's it. Against All Odds.
Yeah.
So, what's something that you think will arouse somebody in the vibe of Against All Odds?
When I think of something like that, I think of like two people pitted against the rest of the world. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like you and me, Sid and Nancy, against all these fucking guys in the jungle.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Surrounded. Alamo.
Butch Cassidy. Sundance Kid.
Sundance Kid. Terminator. What was that movie with like the British colonialists and they're surrounded by tribes guys in Africa? Zulu.
Mm.
Remember that movie?
I got something. If you guys,
oh, you got a feeling? Great, go for it.
Yeah, something just came into my mind. I'm like 26 years old. Working my first job out of college. single, roommates, don't spend a lot of money on stuff. So, I get a bonus, and it's my first job where I don't, I just kind of paid off my student loans and I had a little bit of extra money to blow. So I'm going to treat myself to a vacation down to Mexico, south of the border, during Christmas time. I'm going to say, you know what? The hell with the family. I earned this. I'm going to take a little vacation, spend some me time down there, go by myself, fly into Cancun, and I hop on a motorcycle. The guy's driving a motorcycle and he drives me out to a just little quiet little sleepy villa in the middle of the desert. Beautiful place, beautiful landscape. And I see that there's this bar, this kind of like rough and gruff bar. People live there, people die there. You can really just get the pulse of the area through that bar. Real shithole. So I walk in there, and as I'm walking in, like a guy flies out of the window, like there's some real rough characters going on there, some tough customers. So I walk in there and I see the two guys arm wrestling with a scorpion on each side. So whoever loses gets stung by the scorpion. A guy gets shot in a card game. Instinct would tell me, look, you got to turn around and get out of there. But just something kept me in that place, right? And I sat at the bar, and I sit down, and I'm like, bartender, give me a shot of tequila. And so he comes over, and he's like, gringo, you're not from around here. There's a lot of really nice hotel bars and stuff like that down in Cancun. Maybe you want to drink there. And I'm like, no, I think I'm good here. So I take a couple shots of tequila and I look down the bar and I see this absolutely gorgeous woman, curly black hair, sparkly makeup that like catches the light. Like there's basically glitter in her makeup. She's got smoky eyes, red dress with frills on it and a rose at the top of her shoulder, really high boots that are made of gator skin, and they have butterflies embroidered in them. And I'm like, achi machi machi. And I call over the bartender. I'm like, who's that? And he's like, oh, trust me, you do not want to touch that. You do not want to go anywhere near that. I'm like, how come? And he's like, well, that's the girl of the biggest, baddest cartel guy around, the Diablo del Yucatan, the devil of the Yucatan. And I'm like, oh yeah, I read I saw a documentary on YouTube about those guys. They're they're like the homophobic cartel that's if they get another man's cum on them, they have to commit suicide, right? It's part of their like thing. And he's like, yeah, man, so they are some real tough guys. So you do not want to go anywhere near her or you will be dead. So I'm like, you know what? Fuck that. I'm American. I'm basically untouchable in this place. Like you come down on me and they're going to have the DEA swarming your ass like they did when the cartels killed that DEA agent. I forget exactly how that went down, but they don't want any part of this, So I walk over to her and I say, can I buy you a drink? And she's like, absolutely. And so we go and sit down at a table, and she leans in and she says, come a little bit closer, you're my kind of man. So big and so strong. Come a little bit closer. I'm all alone and the night is so long. And I chuckle and I lean into her and we're making eyes at each other. I'm like whispering sweet nothings into her ear, and she's rubbing my leg with her foot. And guess who walks in? El Diablo de Yucatan. Must have been 10 feet tall if he was an inch. He's got his whole clique with him, a Sicario right-hand man standing next to him. And I look over at the bartender, and the bartender's like, giving me like the finger across the neck, like stop motion. And I don't pay any attention to him. So before the cartel guy sees me, he walks over to the bartender and he shakes him down for some money. Apparently he's been shaking down this bartender for years now. He's got this protection racket going on. And he takes the money and he catches my eye and he sees that I'm with this girl and he walks over and he's like, I think you're in the wrong bar, gringo. And I'm like, I think I'm in the right bar. And he's like, I think you're with the wrong woman, gringo. And I'm like, I think she's obviously made her decision. Now get the fuck out of my face. I'm trying to, talk to this beautiful woman. And so he pulls out his gun and he aims it at me. He's like, now who's the tough guy, huh? So I grab his Sicario, right-hand man. I pull his head down and I take my dick out of my pants and I'm rock hard at this point. And I say, there's something that, and I aim it right at his head, right? And I say, there's something that I know about you guys that you probably don't think I knew. And that if I come on your right-hand man, the guy who knows how to run your business, the guy has all the connections at the border, he has to kill himself. And if he doesn't, in front of all of these guys, he's going to look weak. And I can see the Diablo de Yucatan start to sweat a little bit because he kind of knows I have him in check. And he's like, man, I don't give a fuck. I will kill you anyways. And the Sicario's like, do it, man. Do it. And right when I'm thinking like, okay, is this cartel guy going to kill me and not really give a shit if I come on his, because I'm sitting there stroking, right? And so he's like, I could come at any minute, in full control of my body. The bartender comes out and pulls out his dick and aims it at the cartel guy. And he's like, man, I'm sick of you coming here and taking my money all the time. Finally, we have somebody in here who's going to stand up to you. And I look down and the Sicario, who I'm holding, has his dick out and is aimed at the bartender, right? And he's stroking his dick. And so he's like, we have ourselves like a Mexican standoff, like who's going to break? What's going to happen? Are we all going to come at the same time? And so I'm thinking in my head, man, like, and I mumble this, I'm like, hell of a way to spend my Christmas, so I can see, I look over at the bartender and I can see he's not built for this. Like his hand is shaking and I notice he's starting to go limp, right? And I'm like, oh shit, this is like the tipping point here. Like, what the fuck am I going to do? So he starts to go limp. He's like stroking his limp dick. The cartel boss notices that he can't get hard and he's like, fuck, pinche cabron, and he just fucking lights him up with his gun, just blows his head clean off. So now I'm like, oh fuck. So I pull up the Sicario, right, and kind of get him in a headlock and use him as a human shield. I reach around, I grab his dick and I start pumping it, and as I'm backing out of the place, right? And I'm like, don't fucking move. I'll make this guy come. And all the different cartel guys are like closing in on me. And I'm like, you got to ask yourself a question. Is my hand game so good that I could make this guy come on a drop of a dime? Ask yourself that question. Am I able to do it? And the cartel boss is like saying to Sicario, is like, go limp, man, go limp. And the Sicario's like, I can't, man. His hand game is way too good. So I'm just sitting there pumping him. And as I get towards the door, I give him that like death stroke, you know what I mean? That like closer stroke that I know is going to make him nut. He shoots a wad up into the air at such an angle that when it hits its peak, I push him forward at the group of cartel guys and like throw them off balance, take my own dick. I nut as well, and my nut hits his nut in midair and sprays, and the cum collides and it fills the air with like a mist of cum that drops on all of them. And right at that moment, White Christmas by Bing Crosby comes on the jukebox.
Oh God.
And I'm like, I'm dreaming of a white Christmas. I say that to the girl, Yeah. And I take her out and I leave out the back. And at that moment, we just hear like a pop, pop, boop, pop, 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 pop. Just a smattering of bullets of these guys just killing themselves. Because they have to. If one of them doesn't, then they lose respect. And at that point, they're going to get taken out at some point. So they just all kill themselves. And I take the woman out to a car I rented and I eat her out for like 45 minutes because I already came. You know what I mean? So like I'm basically useless, and she doesn't quite get there as far as like orgasm wise, but definitely having a good time, but she taps me out and tells me to stop after a while. And I drive her home and enjoy the rest of my vacation. Against all odds, I got out of that bar alive.
Wow,
That was insane.
that's cool. Had kind of a Tarantino feel.
Mhm. It definitely drew heavily from Desperado.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Bet you guys didn't think I was going to make it out of there, huh?
I was sweating. I was nervous.
I couldn't predict your cum hitting his cum and there being a shower in the room.
Mm-hmm. The cum touched literally everybody in that bar. You know what I mean? Not all of them had lived by the cartel code, so they didn't have to kill themselves. But the ones that did, there's going to be, subsequently there was a huge power vacuum and a cartel war that killed hundreds and hundreds of people as a result of that night. But God, that felt good.
Hard to follow that.
You want me to go?
I don't know. How you feel? You want to wait or you want to go?
I can go.
Okay.
All right.
Go for it.
It's the Mega Millions is happening. It's like no one's gotten it. It's happened for like the last like 3 months. So it's up to like $4 billion. It's like an insane amount of money. And I've spent like probably like 80% of each paycheck I get on tickets, and I just never get anything. So me and a friend sort of take up like a collection amongst our friends. Just like get a couple thousand tickets. So we go to a gas station, buy all these tickets, buy like $40 in scratch off tickets too, just because they're fun. Yeah. Get some drinks, pay for everything. We're walking out, and this guy comes in with a mask on and fucking just starts screaming for money. Tells the cashier that he'll shoot him in the face if he doesn't give him the cash. My friend tries to grab something heavy that he sees and just tries to fight this guy. Guy shoots him right in the groin. He turns around. He shoots the cashier like right in the head. Just like blows it clean off. Just blood everywhere. My friend falls to the ground. I put my arms up, drop everything. The guy just lets me go. So I call the paramedics. And they're just like, where did he get hit? And I'm just like, it's like in his testicles. And they're just like, you have to, they're like, have you put anything on it? And I was like, I put like a bag of frozen peas on it. And they're like, that's not going to do anything. I'm just like, so what? I'm like, so what should I do? And they're just like, you gotta squeeze the balls. So I'm just like, okay. So I put one hand on his testicles and I'm squeezing them. And then they're like, you need to, they're like, the force of your hand isn't going to stop the bleeding. She's like, so you have to edge them. I'm just like, what? I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, you have to get them, you have to try to get them hard right now. And that way the semen will like put pressure, and from the base of the balls, and it could stop the bleeding. It's like, okay. I'm like, how long do I need to do this? And they're just like, do it. It's gonna be a while. He's like, we've got to pick up someone else first, so it's gonna be a couple minutes. So I grab his balls. I tell him what's going on. He's like coherent, but he's kind of out of it. He's certainly not horny. So I'm just like, I reach down, grab the dick, and I'm tossing it back and forth. It's just completely limp. Just keep smashing it up against his belly and everything. And it's getting thicker, but it's not at all hard. So I'm just like, this is my best friend. Like, it's my best friend in the world, so I'm just like, I can't lose him. I call his girlfriend, tell her what's going on. I'm like, what gets him going? Like, how do I get him going? And she's just like, he loves like ass stuff. I'm just like, oh fuck. I'm like what? And he likes to have his ass eaten. And I'm like, all right, fuck. So I completely pull off his pants, and he's like completely shit himself. So I empty out all the tickets from the plastic bag, and I just start winding it up, and I make like a little tourniquet, put it underneath the base of his balls, around his penis, and I just tighten it. Then I'm able to go shopping. I go into the store, I grab toilet paper, I grab a roll of toilet paper, I grab wet wipes, I grab a shaver and shaving cream, and I just push his legs back, wipe his ass, clean it with the wet wipe, and then I shave it a little bit, just enough to make me not, gag or anything. So I start eating his butt a little bit, and at this point it's getting thicker. So I undo the bag that I've got tied around his balls. I just I grab his balls with my left hand. I'm squeezing them, holding his cock with my right hand. And, the paramedics finally show up, and they're like, you might have saved his life. And I'm just like, all right, awesome. I'm like, what next? And they're like, you got to keep doing it so we can get him into surgery. I'm just like, okay. So they take us in there. We're in the ambulance. I'm just holding this cock, stroking it every few seconds. I just give it a nice stroke. And the key is that you're not supposed to make them come. Like, that's one, you're not supposed to make them come. You're just supposed to have a build up. So they give us a private room. We wait until we can get into the surgery room. It's like 45 minutes of me doing this. Every once in a while I'll go down there and I'll like eat his ass a little bit just to keep it extra hard. I ask him, I'm like, you're not gonna come, are you? And he's like, I'm close. Just ease up on the ass a little bit. And I'm just like, okay. So I kind of ease up on that and just keep stroking it. His girl shows up. She takes over, and I just have a break. I go out. I go out into the waiting room, and I turn the TV's on, and they read off the Mega Millions winners, and we didn't win. We didn't win anything, but we win. We win like $200 on scratch offs, and that's it.
That's not bad.
You saved the man's life.
Saved his life.
Oh God,
got a couple bucks out
that
of
feels
it.
good.
Challenge yourself.
Yeah.
Holy shit, man.
Rose to the occasion.
Mm-hmm. Plus, I mean, you got to exercise a really strategic stroke game. Like, I don't know if I probably would have made him come. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, that's what I was afraid of.
Yeah.
I didn't want to kill him.
Yeah. You had to edge him to save his life. That's a really it's a powerful powerful position to be in.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's get this going. So I'm an adult, and I start a softball team because I have no friends and or personality. So I've always personally hated people who like softball or play softball. But anyways, in this fantasy, I'm not disgusted by it. almost wish that I almost look up to people who play dodgeball as adults. You know what I mean? Something like softball is just whatever. Okay, so I'm on like a softball league. We play different softball people around the town. A lot of them are ex-music people, food service guys who used to be in bands, and just a lot of just like shelled out people. And we're doing pretty good. Me and my mates, we go and get a couple brews after we play the games, and we talk about what we could have done better. Through some stroke of luck, we find ourselves like in the championship game. I don't know what it is. I guess we just got lucky. A couple of the other teams, like one of their star players got hit by a car. Another one was just bad luck. Fell on that. One of them was had their throat slit in the parking lot when they were walking home. Another one's like kid was in college and they did something horrible to another kid so that they couldn't go. That was kind of fucking up their life. So it's just me and my guys. None of us like would say we're gay, but we're definitely like bisexual and like fool around sometimes when we drink too much, like after the games and stuff, just to blow off steam. Just like anything, it's just lonely people, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who like to party, have a good time,
It's
and
normal.
are cool. We're cool, you know. It's just normal stuff. I'm married and I have 2 kids. My wife and kids obviously don't know about the stuff that I do with them. So we get it's like getting near the end of the baseball levels that you play in the game, and we're tied, and there's just like one the next person who wins a point wins the championship, and you get a $200 gift certificate to like a Buffalo Wild Wings place, which is pretty cool. So I'm like, I call time. I got one of the pitchers is about to pitch one of the softballs. I say, time. I'm like, guys, huddle. I'm like, okay, guys, we got a couple seconds here. We play accordingly. We can all jerk off into the circle, get enough sperm on the softball, and then we're just gonna whip it at their star player, crack his head open. Okay. So we're all that's just my idea. I know we're not going to make it. I just want to like, it's like a power thing for me. I just want to see like how far I can take these guys. I've kind of been playing these guys from the beginning. To join the team, I videotaped each one saying like racist stuff or stuff like against their family and stuff like that. And I said like, to be on the team, you have to do this. I hold the tape. That way, like you can't quit.
Mm-hmm.
Just like a show of commitment and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's like power. I had them get tattoos, like branding my name into their skin and stuff like that. And so we all just started masturbating. It goes viral. We get in trouble at first. We have to pay us a fine. We don't win the game. The police come and arrest us all with our pants down and our dongs hanging out. And little dribbles of sperm just like about to pre-cum coming out and stuff like that. But then it becomes such a way to make money. We started a streaming service, and we get like Andy Dick. You and I, we all talked. We did a deep dive on Andy Dick yesterday. I just thought I'd bring him in for a second. He's down and out. He comes and like visits us. We rent a house in the hills.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a bunch of guys that there's a gym there, so we're all in good shape. We're all drinking athletic greens and stuff like that. And like doing nootropics and stuff. And we're just like a group of guys that like, it's like a fuck squad. We kind of talked about that a little bit. John, you're always talking about trying to assemble its fuck squad. This is like that sort of situation. So against all odds. Oh, also in the story, like I grew up like really poor. I didn't have a father figure around. My mom was a prostitute. And everyone in the neighborhood used to just beat the shit out of me, beat my brains out all day long with baseball bats and stuff like that. So this was like a pretty big chances of me like getting the life that I had were pretty slim. I owe it all to like pornography, essentially. You know what I mean? Making pornography and just like being able to cut out the middleman. So there's no pimp, no, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We just make a lot of money and we're a couple of guys who have a good time. The venture lasts about 5 years. We make a few connections and we're able to invest in some like crypto stuff, some like apps and stuff, and we kind of just like throw our money into tech, and we all end up doing pretty good for ourselves.
I love that. Against all odds, you made it. You know.
Yeah, after all the shit I've seen, all the horrors I've seen, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Against all odds, you made it to the championship too.
Yeah, that too. No one thought we would make it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's really incredible. I bet when you were a kid, getting your head kicked in by like other kids in the neighborhood, the mailman, whoever was, just needed to blow off some steam that day. You're probably just feeling really alone and scared, and didn't think that there was a lot to live for.
Yeah. Very lonely.
Good thing you stuck it out, and against all odds, you made it to a pretty good life for yourself.
You know what really what I really got in the end was friendship. I got like a surrogate family,
Your chosen family. Yeah.
Hey, not too bad.
Yeah,
not too bad at all.
You got to rub elbows with a celebrity, Andy Dick, who hung out at your house for a while.
Man, that video just got darker and darker.
Yeah, it got really dark.
There's the part where he's arguing with a hillbilly. He's like, the hillbilly's yelling at Andy Dick, and Andy Dick can barely talk. And the hillbilly is like, "You literally burned down my house, dude, and killed literally my dog." And he's like, "Okay, guilty.
Yeah.
You got me, big whoop." You know what I mean? And he did burn down his house and kill his dog.
Yeah.
I need to watch
the
it.
part that
it's sick.
It's fucking weird. Yeah. The part, but it
starts out wholesome. He's just groping people, and it's just funny. To me, it's just funny.
He's kissing them when they don't want to be kissed.
Licking them.
He's just being like I was saying to you guys, living all of his fantasies out in real time, in real life. There's like no hidden desire with that guy. He just does whatever he wants to people. He'll go up to somebody and reach his hand down their pants and grab their penis and dick, and he got arrested for doing that a bunch of times.
And then something happened to our culture. Something changed.
Yeah, go on.
Okay. There's footage of him in New Orleans. He grabs a guy's dick. This guy decks him straight in the face, knocks him out cold. One blow. Oh, you know what I mean? 3 years prior to that wouldn't even happen. You would laugh.
Yeah, that's Andy Dick being funny, reaching, putting his hand on my dick and balls.
Yeah, I would be standing there with my hands and my fists on my hips. Well, this guy's just straight up has both his hands in my face, slurring and licking my face, and I'd take it.
It's you're a part of comedy history at that point.
It's an honor, sir.
You'd salute him. The part of that video that was most depressing to me is when there's like some like random streamer has him living in his house on a cot.
That shit's
and they're basically just feeding him handles of vodka.
Yeah, like Tito's vodka.
And getting donations from people to keep buying him more vodka.
Is he
in
just
jail?
Like
in a cot
or no?
No, he's just out. He's as far as I know, he's just hanging out in some fucking shitty house with a camera pointed at him, being drunk and fondling whoever comes through.
Yeah, it's really dark.
He needs some help. He's so funny.
One of the funniest guys. He just, what he needs is like a nature preserve filled with like reality TV stars from shows that aren't around anymore that he can like grope and just like get weird with. You know what I mean? And everyone's fed, everyone's taken care of.
Yeah, he needs to be in some kind of dry, alcohol-free, drug-free incubator with like Pauly Shore, Carrot Top, Daniel Baldwin,
Mhm.
just a lot of those kind of guys, then they can just do whatever the fuck they want to each other.
In open air, there's a couple sheds.
They can work on their craft. Yeah, they're out in the middle of nowhere. They can't hurt anybody. You know, they just have to work through their own issues and solve their
There's
own
like
problems.
a trough of like pretty decent food that they're fed.
Yeah, just really good nutrients and like some kind of slurry made out of root vegetables and shit like that. And if they try to leave
Greens.
the compound, they're hunted and athletic greens. They try to leave the compound, they're hunted down and executed on the spot.
And he's licked so many faces. I'm reading this Wikipedia.
Yeah, at this point, he's like a menace to society. Like he's always, like every couple of months, he'll get arrested for like groping somebody or, you know, crashing his car into somebody or something like that. He probably doesn't remember any of this stuff that's happening to him right now.
What a life.
He'll probably come to, yeah, and be like, just watch these YouTube streams and be like, I have no idea about any of this.
And his stand-up routine that he did making fun of Michael Richards, I really think was pretty funny. I didn't see it either. I just heard about it. Where someone would go out of their way to say one person got in trouble for it, and then the next person sees that, and he's like, "I'm going to do the same exact thing, only like with less, of a reason to do so." It's pretty funny.
He had to one up him. He's like the negative attention that Michael Richards got was way too good.
He like did it in a dumber way, which is really funny.
Yeah. Yeah. I liked how he kept touching Ivanka Trump's legs.
Yeah.
What did you like about it?
The vibe I get from him is that he'll be in some kind of space. He'll get bored with it. He'll get like bored with like whatever the performance is that's going on, and he'll just like do something to not only like draw attention to himself, but to like disrupt it. And he was probably just sitting there listening to Ivanka talk to Jimmy Kimmel, getting fucking bored, getting fidgety, restless, didn't like what he was hearing. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to do something that is extremely
dangerous,
weird, dangerous, and will force people to have to pay attention to me. And so he reached across and started stroking her leg repeatedly until they had to get security to drag him off.
He's an adrenaline junkie.
Adrenaline junkie.
He could have been in like the gang in Point Break. The molester guy.
And this is why it's so important to have a healthy fantasy life for everybody listening out there, or otherwise you end up like Andy Dick, where you're just acting, bringing every single fantasy that's in your brain into reality, so there's no space for them to exist, and that's where you cultivate stuff. That's where you think about, the things that you like, the thing that you're into, and you can just kind of like slow everything down, so you're not just groping everybody you feel like groping and getting your ass kicked.
Let it go.
Breathe.
I think that's true. I think what we're doing is a pretty big service. A lot of people don't have the ability to fantasize. They don't know how to, and I feel like each one of us offers a different style for people to mimic, use as a jumping board with which to fantasize, so that they don't. I don't want to get a helicopter full of the world's most evil, deplorable, dangerous people, Elon Musk, and putting them in a helicopter and shooting a point blank in the back of the head and kick them up. Is that something one should do? That's wrong. That makes you just as bad as someone like, say, like Joe Rogan or some of these other, Jeremy Piven or something like that. You don't want to do that sort of stuff, And what we're doing is therapy. You know what I mean? This is live. This is free therapy. I sell these advertisements for like online therapy on YouTube. They're advertising to me therapy, perfume stuff. They advertise to me single divorced dating applications, which I think is weird, presumptuous about me and my situation with my wife. And I feel like our podcast, if really based on the responses we get, sure, we get a lot of beef from a lot of people that don't understand fantasies, they don't understand freedom, and they want to kill the human spirit. Every day we're bombarded by these. I think they got to be Russian, like Nazi Russian bots or something like that. Like, I don't know what the deal is. People coming at me online or whatever. I'm just sick of all the haters, sick of all the bullshit. Come at me. You want to say something to me? Send me an email. I'll fucking respond. I respond to every single email, positive or negative. Fuck you, bro. Sincerely, I will look you straight in the eye, toe to toe, and I will say, fuck you, dude. I train every fucking day. No one works harder than me. I go to the gym a day. And I work with a trainer a day. I'm in the back of the gym. I'm the one yelling at everyone. I'm the one taking those ropes, slamming them down harder than anyone else, dude. So do not fuck with me. Do not even try to fuck with